Hey everyone, it's Jaime Jo Wright here at MadLit Musings, and I have with me again DJ Williams. Hey DJ.
Jamie, thanks for having me on. We're always in trouble when we're
I
together.
know we are super in trouble when we're together, so who knows where this conversation's even going to end up.
Everyone, hang on tight. No
I
telling
know,
where we're
I
going.
know. We're going to go. So, we always start off with books to, get the conversation rolling. So let's do that, and then we'll see where that takes us
We'll
into
see
the
what
wilds of
happens.
two creatives' brains in
Oh my
one
gosh.
space. That's scary. It's really scary, but you have a broad variety of ability to write in different genres, and you have two books now. So you have King of the Night, which is a sequel, right?
Yeah, sequel to The Auctioneer, part of the
Okay.
Chase Hardiman series.
Yep. And that would you'd probably classify that as thriller, right?
Yeah,
Kind of.
thriller, espionage.
Okay. Yep. And then you've got the Beacon Hill series, which you've been on this podcast about, which is the YA kind of speculative stuff going on. And you've got a new one of those coming out in
So,
January.
yeah, Hunt for Eden Star was number one, Secrets of Highlands number two. Battle of Lion Rock is number three, which is coming out January.
Okay.
It's part of the trilogy.
Okay.
However, there might be more books in that world that I might write at
Right.
some point, but
Right.
technically it's part of a trilogy for right now. So yeah, I'm excited. King of the Night, the response has been great. It was a super fun story to write. And then Battle of Lion Rock was kind of the epic conclusion to the Beacon Hill series. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why my books got longer. Every book in the series got longer. I don't know how that happened, but
Well, it probably happened when you started, saying my book is like Indiana Jones meets J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. And J.K. Rowling, we know, kind of started out small and got
yeah,
longer
so
and
then the
longer and
pages just
longer. Yeah,
automatically,
right.
the
Yeah.
longer I'm saying, longer we say that, the thicker the book gets.
The books kind of keep getting inflated. Every
Oh my
one gets
gosh.
bigger and bigger.
No,
Oh, man.
that was a super fun one to write. We've talked a lot
Yeah.
uh, over the last couple of years, and Beacon Hill was a series I wanted to write 10 years ago, well, 12 years ago now,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing ever happened with it. We end up selling the series a couple of years ago to Wander, and I knew how the series started. I knew kind of a chunk of the story, but we put
Where
most
did
of
that
that
go?
in Hunt for Eden Star. So
Okay.
Secrets of the Highlands, no one knew what was going to be in that book, including me,
Yep.
until it was done.
Yep.
And then Battle of Lion Rock, no one knew what was going to be in that book, except I knew the ending. I just never told anybody the ending. But I've known the ending since the beginning. And
You're devious.
I
That's
just
devious.
I just never brought it up. And
That's really
so
devious.
I get to the end of Battle of Lion Rock, last page, done,
Mm-hmm.
and I text my publisher and I'm like, so Battle of Lion Rock is done, manuscript's done. I can't believe how it ends. And then that's all I texted. So I get a text back that's like, you're such a jerk, because at that point I was the only one that knew. And,
Oh, that's funny.
we went through the edit process, which was fun. My editor at Wander is like one of the best, super fun to work with. And it was funny when they went through the draft and then they hit me back. What was one of the questions they wanted to talk about was the ending of the book. But it had to be that way,
Has to. Yeah.
I knew that that's how it was going to end. I also
Yeah.
knew I didn't want it to end, like Hunger Games or the Harry Potter series. Like,
Right.
you've got to look, if you're going to land the plane, you got to make sure you're not just following someone else's
Oh, yeah.
lead.
You have to. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, no, I'm excited for that to come out, and you know how it is. You move on to the next book, which I have right here,
I
so
know.
which will
Yep.
remain nameless for the time being, but
Except I just have to throw this out there and taunt people that I actually know the name of it. So there's that.
Jamie knows. Jamie knows. She knows because for those of you watching or listening, Jamie has the ability to write books in like 6 weeks, which I am totally, completely jealous of because I'm lucky if in 6 months I'm getting a book done.
Well, Yeah. Like I said in the past many, many times, I don't recommend it. If you want to stay sane long into your old age there.
Lots of coffee, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. You'll be visiting me in a nursing home someday going, Jamie, this is what 6 weeks of book did to you. Look at it. Look at it. And I'll be just, drooling outside my mouth. So
Well, I'll tell you, not to like jump around, but with King of the Night, because I've got both series kind of happening at the
right.
same time right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So when King of the Night came out, well, even before it came out, we sent out, advance copies to
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've got to say, like James Rollins and Jack Stewart and some of these bestseller guys, I reached out to them. They took the time to read the books. Amy read the book, gave an endorsement, so I'm very happy about
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
And when you see authors kind of like coming around other authors to support what they're doing, that's been that's been like a bonus to the whole process. And so I love that. And doing like I did an interview on the Thriller Zone a few weeks ago, and we were talking a little bit about kind of the publishing world and how that's shifting and
Right.
changing. But that kind of core group, the author community, I
Mm-hmm.
love it when people just come alongside and they're like, all right, I'm going to help champion your book. And
Absolutely.
when I've got something coming out, you champion it. That's been a real bonus.
Yeah. It is really cool. And I found when authors do that for other authors, a lot of people are like, well, why would you want to? Isn't that competing or is that going to? And it's not. It's like you're hefting each other up, and it's sharing a readership. Like, what reader reads one author? No
Yeah,
one. I
totally.
mean, we're not unique to one author. So the more I know about, the more I'm going to read.
And to me, it comes down to the stories. Like, I'm not going to write a story like Michael Connelly, you know?
Right.
I'm not going
Right.
to write a story like Daniel Silva. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
write the story that is in me to write.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's the fun part where it's like you can get behind and high five and support, your author friends and all that because they're writing stories that aren't in your imagination. So that's the fun part, I think.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. No,
All
that's
right.
been
So I have
good.
to ask, when you're living in two different worlds, so you've got, you know, espionage thriller over here, and then you've got young adult YA kind of speculative and magical realism and all that world going on over here. Does your brain get a little fuzzy switching between the two? Do you find
So,
spies showing up in the
oh my
one
gosh.
and
Yeah, in the espionage thriller,
yeah,
someone pulls out like a wand and the whole thing
exactly.
changes. Yeah, it this year probably more than before. It was kind of a balancing act because
Mm-hmm.
like Battle of Lion Rock, I wanted to make sure the trilogy ended the way it should and all that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I finally admitted, which you know this already, but I finally admitted in some of these other interviews that, I didn't outline the Beacon Hill series at all, like ever. And what I did is when I got through like Hunt for Eden Star, which was book one, I
Mm-hmm.
went back and created an outline in a spreadsheet when it was
Okay.
finished.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that way, when I got to book two, I could go back and look, all right, am I missing something? But
Right.
not outlining through that process made writing like the last third of Battle of Lion Rock more like, I wasn't freewheeling as much. It was
Mm-hmm.
more of an assignment, where it's like I had
Yeah.
this hit list of like, got to wrap this storyline up, got to
Yep.
wrap this up, so that
Yep.
was a little harder. And then King of the Night, I had written most of that about a year ago. So for this year, it was more or less going through it, kind of tightening stuff up, going through the editorial process.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't too bad. But I was writing the new one at the same time. So I was working on like three books at once. And, remembering characters' names or their descriptions. And yeah,
Yes.
that got a little bit crazy where you're just
Yes.
literally like, I've written 1,000 pages. Do they have blue eyes or brown eyes? I don't know. I got to go look and make sure. But
Yes.
I was, once it was done, I took a breath for a minute And then, as you know, we have our production company. So we were in production on a bunch of other projects at the same time. So I don't know if it's my attention span where I'm able to kind of just jump from like one thing to the
Oh,
next because
mhm.
I don't have a
That could
long
be.
attention span. So that
Maybe that's
could
why it
be,
works well for you because then you wake up one morning, you're like, I'm kind of in a speculative mood. I think I'll
yeah,
work on Battle at Lions Rock today, and then the next day you're like, I'll work on the other one
yeah.
because
It's either
that's
that,
I want to spy today.
well, it's either that or I'm like a dog and I see a squirrel. So then I'm just like, squirrel? I'm like, wait, another squirrel? Wait a
So when
minute.
we see an Amish romance coming out from DJ Williams,
And you
we
know,
really know you chased a squirrel.
I was chasing another squirrel somewhere. My God.
That'll give everyone a little bit of readerly whiplash. Like, whoa, did not see that one coming.
an, an espionage thriller in an Amish town with some
Oh,
supernatural. I mean, come on. I mean,
well, I was going to say right there when you first started, it reminded me of what is it the Harrison Ford movie, The
oh
Witness.
yeah, yeah. The
Where
Witness.
there is a little bit of that Amish meets thriller, but then speculative. Yeah, there weren't any
Yeah.
bonds pulled out there.
Oh,
So
that's so funny. Well, you're working on multiple books at one time. So how do you go through that? How do you balance that?
it is a little bit like that, like you said, squirrel type thing.
Hmm.
And I balance it based off of deadlines, like which one's the priority, which is probably why I send you texts going, yeah, I got to write a whole book in like 2 days now. Because I've chased so many squirrels that I've run myself into a dead end and the deadlines
Oh
at
my
the end. And you're
God.
like, no. But no, I think part of it is it's the creative mind. And I'm guessing you're like me on this. The creative mind doesn't hold still. Like you can't just sit down and stop being creative. And
Yeah,
so I think sometimes for me, working on more than one project is easier than if you told me to just write one thing. I think I would almost just be like, I don't know what to do. To be
yeah.
that intensely focused on one thing.
Well, and do you find it this way? Because now you got me thinking about this. Because I'm already thinking about like the third book in the Chase Hardiman series, the
Uh-huh.
second book in this series. Like I'm already playing scenes in my
Yeah,
imagination of what's on the page, and I'm not even writing it. So kind of your mind is still playing
absolutely.
through everything.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. I've got a proposal I'm creating right now that has, I probably can't say too much about it, but it has a Navy SEAL in it. And so my brain is going into all this, like, I've been studying like Navy SEALs and acronyms and, all the things. And I'll use probably like 2% of what I'm studying, but I want just enough
Yeah,
to make it realistic, right?
yeah.
And then I'm going from that and I'm going, okay, so there's this house that's in Malaysia that's rumored to have a hidden door that's a portal into the underbelly of the demon world.
Yeah, see,
Those
mix
don't
those two
mesh. They
together.
don't mesh, right?
My gosh, that's hilarious. That's
So yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, it's like your brain's always going into random places and these things that, but yet somehow they become scenes in your mind, like you said. Like the movies in my brain start playing,
And
and I'm going, oh, I see
you
this.
can't shut it off either.
No,
That's that's the
right.
thing I've found is like when I get closer to the end of a book,
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing that thing. Like Battle of Lion Rock, for example. When I got close to the end, that thing was playing in my mind, and I'd go to sleep at night, I'd get up in the morning, and I'm still like the
Mm-hmm.
movie's still rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, I got to get this out of my imagination on the page.
Right. Right.
In my one of my bad habits is I'll find myself trying to edit as I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to like force myself, like, don't edit right now. Just get
Just
it
get it out.
all, get it all out of you. Go back. You can fix stuff later.
Yep.
And, because I don't know, maybe with that kind of stuff, I'm a little more, even though I squirrel chase, I'm a little more of like a perfectionist of like, okay, I want the chapter to be exactly right before I move
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah.
that's a bad
Yeah.
habit I got to get rid of.
No, I hear you on that. And my thing is because I've watched the scene so many times in my head, I feel like sometimes I've actually watched the movie. Like there is no
Hmm.
movie, but I feel like I've watched it. And then
Yeah.
it's a matter of I somehow have to say, here's this movie that I watched, Derek, and I need to explain it to you as realistically so you can somehow see what I just saw. And it's really hard to do sometimes because you're like, you've got to wrap in the senses and the nuances and the
Yeah,
unspoken things that, an actor would grab, would be their facial expression, would
yeah,
communicate that. But you don't have that in a book. You have to somehow write it.
yeah,
And,
totally.
and my worst catchphrase is they gazed or they blinked. Because, it's like the eyes communicate so much in a movie when you're watching an
Yeah,
actor and actress, but in a book, it's like, how many times can this person blink?
yeah, that's so
Like,
funny.
really?
Well, they do the search, they do the search for like gazed, and you're like, I've used
Yes.
that 4,000 times in this book.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh.
I know I've resorted now to Chat GPT. What's another word for gaze? Or how else
That's
could I
hilarious.
say he gazed at the dog? Like, there's got to
My
be a better
gosh.
way to say this. And Chat GPT comes back. There is no other word.
Yeah, you are using the only other word that is
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
well,
it
that's
is, it
awesome.
is funny. Did I tell you? Okay, this is totally off topic, but because we like squirrels, did I tell you about the time I used AI to try to figure out how to break a windshield with making enough noise that somebody inside the house would hear it, but not using explosives?
Huh.
And my response from AI was,
Throw a squirrel.
we try not to give suggestions to encourage violence. In fact, if you're feeling violent, here's a 1-800 number to call.
No, that's so great. That's
I
so
guess
great.
I'm like, great, now the FBI really is monitoring me.
Yeah. Well, I thought where you were heading with this, I thought it
Yeah.
was going to be just throw a squirrel at the window. Just
Oh, yeah.
squirrel up, throw it. They'll
I
hear it
did end up
inside.
opting for a brick. I opted for a brick. It's a little bit louder. The squirrels just kind of bounce. They bounce off. They
Oh
don't
my
really
gosh.
shatter when they need to shatter.
The squirrel screams as he's going through
I
the
went
air.
out
He's
and I
just like,
tried it. I got a couple squirrels. I tried
perfect.
launching them with various instruments.
My gosh. Yeah. No squirrels. No squirrels were harmed in the research of this book. That's what you
I
got to
might have
tell them.
to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that disclaimer in my next book. Everybody's gonna be, what are you talking about?
I tuned in and they're talking about squirrels for some reason.
And
But leave it
throwing
to
them
us.
at windshields. I mean, like I said when we started this, we don't have normal podcast conversations when you come on here, and
Yeah.
I don't even, we haven't really talked a whole lot about your books now. It's just been all rodents, windshields, and
Oh my gosh.
mixed
Well,
genres.
everyone knows that you have books coming out. Everyone knows I've got books coming out. Just go check it
Right.
out and just
Yeah.
enjoy the conversation. That's
Right.
all. That's
Exactly.
all. That's all I'm saying. Oh, that is so good.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
Well,
it
what
is.
are you? Sorry, I was just going to ask you. What are you? I mean, I won't say the fastest book you've ever written because I don't want to totally out you on your podcast. But now now that you're moving full steam ahead, what books are lined up for you coming up? What are you going to be working on?
I was interviewing you, man.
No, I like asking
Yeah,
questions.
this is like reverse.
It's
No,
part of my
no.
part of my job.
I know. Well, you do this because you don't want to talk about you. I get it. I get it. It's
Oh, that's so
deflection.
funny.
Fun. Well, let's see here. I am working on the last set of edits for my book coming out in April. I'm working on the first set of edits for my book coming out next October. I just finished final edits for a book coming out in August, and I'm starting the first draft of a book that comes out in 2026. That's what I'm working on right now.
That's incredible.
So it's, yeah, lots of
That is
squirrels might
that
actually
is
die.
that is no joke, man. That is no joke. She's like, I've
Yeah,
got 8 squirrels and I'm watching them all at
right.
one time.
Well, what people don't understand is that door behind me here, if you're watching on YouTube, and when you
Yeah.
open it, there's a room full of squirrels and hamsters that are running on
Yeah,
wheels, and they're powering
literally.
this machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Ever
Oh my
wonder what
gosh.
happened to the chipmunks? They're now in your back. They're in that back room back there, literally.
Exactly. We put them to work. We put them to work. There's no laws against labor. There's no labor laws for chipmunks and
Against the
squirrels.
squirrel. That's great. Well, that's good to know. Let me write that down so I don't forget.
Yeah. No, don't. You're in California. You'll get one passed pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're going to
Suddenly
pass a
got like
law.
labor laws for squirrels passing in California, and I'll be like,
Oh
aha,
my God.
I know where that started.
Oh my goodness. California or New York, one of the two. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's been a little bit of a whirlwind on the book front, but you know, you're still knocking out more books than me. I've got 3 books lined up over the next year to write,
Yeah, yeah,
but by
that's
then
good.
you'll have like 8 books done. Every time I think I'm competing, I just realize I'm just not in the same league. I'm just like literally, I'm like, can I got a book done, and Jamie's like, I got 3 done. Where you been slacking off, or what's happening?
Hey, come on, DJ, come on. What's your problem?
That's
Well,
awesome.
they always say sometimes it's quality over quantity, though. So you don't know.
I don't
Like,
know. I've read some books. I've read some books that took a long time to write. And I'm like, well, why didn't they just write this in like 2 months? I mean, holy smokes.
yeah, there's a title that's crossing my brain while you're saying that. I won't say it out loud, but I was like, really? Really?
Well, there's a book. So all right. So we'll play this game. We won't say the author's name or the title of the book,
Fair. Yes.
but there is a book in one of the most popular series of all time that has
Hmm.
yet to come out. Well, after it was optioned for TV, film. Now these episodic series comes out.
Yeah.
Is that book ever going to get released? That's what I'm wondering. Or is it just like a marketing ploy to get everyone to keep watching all the other content?
Think it's a marketing. It's working well if it's the book I'm
That's
thinking of.
what I'm saying. That's what
It's
I'm saying.
working really. Maybe we have our marketing strategy backwards. Don't
Well,
ever bother to write the book. Just market the idea.
when that series was on the air and everyone's going crazy about it, and they knew it was the last season, I was
Hmm.
talking to some buddies out here, and we were laughing because everyone's like, well, the book's got to come out before the series ends. And I'm like, I don't think there's any intention to put the book out
Mm-mm.
because, for one, the ending of that series was different from, I think, what the book will be. And
Yeah,
it gave the
that's what I've
author a
heard.
chance to go, like, well, that didn't work so well. So I'm
Right,
going to
right.
change the
Like,
ending.
even if that was what the ending was going to be, the author's like, nobody liked that ending. Let's go over in this
Yeah,
direction.
let's change the ending of that. But I mean, I think that should be trending on social. Is that book ever really going to come out? I mean, it's been years,
It's a good question.
you
That's a
know?
good question. And I don't think that particular author is, I don't want to age him too much, but I don't think he's
Well,
young.
he's not a spring chicken. Let's just say
There we
that.
go. That's a good way of putting it.
And I mean, he has enough leverage where he can probably tell the publisher when he's going to
Yeah,
deliver, you
yeah.
know? Where for someone like me, I'm still trying to climb the mountain. You're close to the peak of the mountain now. I'm
Mm,
still like climbing the mountain. Where when I
I've
get a
got the rope.
deadline,
I'm pulling you with me.
when I
Come on,
get,
let's go.
I know when I get a deadline, there is no like, hey, we'll move it, 3 months,
No,
6 months.
no.
There's not that conversation. Although
Right, right.
I did with Battle of Lion Rock, I did push it a little farther out because it ended up being the longest book in the series.
Okay.
And it was not like when you read it, you're not going to get this sense, but writing it was more
Hmm.
complicated
That makes
because
sense. Yep.
for anyone that's read the Beacon Hill series, even if you haven't read it, it happens in present day that goes in, the characters go into other realms.
Hmm.
So each realm in the series is different from the other. You got to raise the stakes. Well, when I got to Battle of Lion Rock and the other realms are, kind of brought into the story,
Right,
you have to make sure they're not like the ones from the first book or the second
right,
book. Like that
right.
took a little more,
Yeah,
it's a little more complicated to pull it off, but
yeah, yeah.
I think we did it.
No, yeah, you don't want to be repetitive by any means. I do have to ask though, so the Battle of Lion Rock, is that any nod to Narnia? Like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Because there's Lion Rock in The Lion, Witch,
The
and the Wardrobe.
Well, the Battle of Lion Rock it's two things. Not with
Okay.
Narnia, but
Oh,
there's a mountain in Hong Kong called Lion Rock
I
where
didn't know that.
the shape of the mountain is the profile of a
Oh, that's
lion.
so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew that's where kind of the battle was going to happen. And
Hmm.
then leading up to that battle, there is a battle from centuries past
Okay. Yep.
that those two kind of are parallel.
Okay.
And so if you read Hunt for Eden Star, which is book one, you get a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of a glimpse of what that age-old battle is. Secrets of the Highlands, you find out a little more. But then in Battle of Lion Rock, basically the darkness that comes in Battle of Lion Rock is from a place like no one would ever expect, basically.
Okay.
And then the final battle that
Yeah.
happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wish I was smart and said, yeah, it has everything to do with Narnia because I read everything C.S. Lewis writes.
Yeah.
It's Lion Rock was based off of the location in
No, that's
Hong
cool
Kong.
though. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I kind of figured it wasn't to do with Narnia, but then I was picturing that in my head, and so I just had to ask because it was another
Well, it's
squirrel.
not. It's not because I'm just not as good a writer as C.S. Lewis, so I could pull it off.
Well, Tolkien might say that you're just as good as Lewis because he likes to
Oh, yeah,
denigrate Lewis.
he might, because that guy.
So he'll be like, "Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, you're way better than Lewis."
to sit down like I love Lord of the Rings. I
Yeah.
love. I think the Rings of Power series is pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. I think the
Mm-hmm.
original movies are probably the best in my
Oh, they're
opinion.
amazing. Yeah.
But if you sit down and read a Tolkien book, I mean that is some dedication. Like you have got to commit to it. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's a different.
there is a girl in my youth group who has read them all at least 2 times. And
That's
she's
incredible.
16. And I'm like,
That's great.
you have nothing left to live for. If you've read Tolkien's trilogy and The Hobbit 2 times by the time you're
Yeah,
16, you're done with the literary world. Move on to
yeah.
something else.
I I read The Hobbit start to finish. I started reading Lord of the Rings, and that's around the time when the movies came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought I'm just going to watch the movies
Yeah,
because there's so much
that's what I did too. It's
so much
exactly what I did.
happening, so
Yep.
much to remember. Now,
Yep.
with the Harry Potter series, I read every book start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just the different styles of storytelling or what it is, but when J.K. Rowling, the way she wrote that series, I could live in those books forever, just the way
Yeah.
she did it, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
storytelling, I guess.
Yeah. My daughter's not a reader, and she is a junkie for Harry Potter movies. And I have told her over and over again, you have completely cheated yourself out of the world of Harry Potter by having not read the books. I'm like,
Yeah,
take the movies,
yeah,
times them by 3, and that's the
yeah,
books.
yeah. I heard someone give kind of a good analogy. I can't remember what series it was, but let's use Harry Potter for example. The movies, it's like an iceberg. The
Mm-hmm.
movies are everything you see above the water, and then the books are
Yeah.
everything that's above and below,
And below.
you know, and
Mm-hmm.
below it just
Mm-hmm.
gets massive, you know.
Massive. Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
that's a good way to put it.
Which means the diehard Tolkien fans are probably like cussing at us right now, going, "How have you not read the books? You're going on about these movies. You don't know what you've missed."
I love the movies. Plus, I was hooked when they were doing the movies. I was hooked by Peter Jackson, where they did all the behind the scenes. I mean,
Yeah,
they did so much content behind the scenes to watch how it all came together. That that had me hooked before the movies even came out, you know.
yeah, yeah. Well, we did last holiday season. We sat the kids down and we said, like it or not, our Christmas vacation is going to be spent on the couch. And we're watching the extended versions from The Hobbit all the way through.
That's incredible.
It was the best Christmas I have ever had.
That is just awesome. I mean, that's
I loved
literally,
it.
what is that, like 16 hours? No,
Oh,
longer.
I think it's more than that. It's over
Because
24 hours
it's the other three
because
movies
The
too.
Hobbit has 3, and then you've
Yeah.
got the Lord of the Rings, which is 3, which
And they
6 movies with the extended version adds an extra hour
so they were
each,
all at least 3.5
at least.
hours, at
Yeah,
least. Well, that's
yeah.
amazing.
It was epic. It was awesome. It was great.
That is so good. They're like, are we
You
gonna
know, it
eat
is.
dinner? Like,
Yeah,
no,
that's
we're
what we
watching
did.
the next movie. Oh my God.
We ate pizza to watch the movie while we were
That
eating. And
that's
that
so
when it
good.
ended, I was like sitting on the couch And I'm not a weeping type of a person. Like, I don't cry at movies. And I'm sitting there and my son goes, "Are you crying?" And I'm like, "I have been in this land for over 18 hours.
So
I'm
hilarious.
weeping. I don't even want to come out of this land. I just want to stay in the Shire forever."
Oh my gosh. Well,
Man.
that got me thinking about just writing a series in general.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how that felt for them, clearly. But
Right.
like, if I think of Beacon Hill, like I've wanted to write it for, over 10 years.
Hmm.
Now I've written the trilogy. It did take a minute, like when I finished all the edits on Battle of Lion Rock and it was totally done. It does take a minute to be like, okay, I'm now leaving this
Yeah.
world in my imagination and it's done, like
Yeah.
that's done. But
Yeah.
then, a couple days later, I'm like, haha, I think I have an idea for something that could
Number
work,
four, or a
you
prequel,
know.
or whatever.
And I mean, honestly, like candidly, I don't even know how that would work with the publisher, but I'm like, yeah, I know there's another couple books that could
Well,
come right out of this because, even though I was like, okay, I'm done, I'm stepping away,
mm-hmm.
my imagination was like, no, you're not done with this world yet. Like, even if you're just playing it in your mind,
Right.
and it never
Right.
gets printed, I guess.
You're still working on it.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
That is
I
so
love it.
funny.
Okay, so for everyone listening, you've learned a lot today about squirrels, about windshields, about Tolkien. I'm trying to think of everything we've talked about. Has been espionage, Hong Kong, Lion
Yep,
Rock.
that's right.
I'm
We
not
cover
sure what
some
else
ground.
we do,
Your
man.
vacation, the fact
My
you
vacation.
you did your
Yes, speed
vacation.
writing. Yeah. So for all of you listening, whatever we didn't cover, we will try to cover in our next podcast. But for now, check out DJ's books. And I'm going to let you drop the titles again because I can't keep them all straight.
That's so good. Right. Beacon Hill, Young Adult Fantasy, Hunt for Eden Star, Book One, Secrets of the Highlands, Book Two, Battle of Lion Rock is Book Three. That comes out January 7th. And then Chase Hardiman series, which is my espionage thriller series. The Auctioneers, Book One. King of the Night is Book Two. That just came out September 8th, I think it was.
Yep. Yep.
And Book Three slotted for next year.
Awesome. All right. Well, you're definitely all going to want to check it out. Just look up DJ Williams on Amazon because that should link you to all the books, right? On
That's
your
right.
Amazon page.
Yep.
All right.
Go find me.
Go find them. Well, thanks for joining us today. And we'll do this again. Maybe next time we can bring some hamsters.
Yeah, we need more animals. We
We
need
need
more
more animals.
animals. Yeah.
We
We
need to
got a
broaden it
farm.
out.
We're
Yeah.
literally, hi, welcome. We're podcasting from the farm today.
Well, I'm in Wisconsin. Next time I'll take you out to the barn. We'll go to the cows. We're in the barn with the cows today.
Oh, I'm afraid of the cows. My goodness.
Don't be
That's
afraid of the
hilarious.
cows. The
That's
cows are
so
friendly.
funny.
All right. We'll talk at you later.
Thanks for having me on.